from a young age. We were always similar positions. We actually had a bit of like, not tension, but we were always competing for similar positions.
Yeah. Who's better?
Honestly, me. No, I was. I mean, there's no, but I think my career capped at like 80.
Merely a donkey, Nicholas. Merely a donkey. Cut.
So he had a much better, like my youth though, I was a beast.
Yeah.
I also stopped growing 5'9" now.
Okay.
If I was...
Don't expose yourself like that. 6 foot.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
But I think, we all say it, but I was huge as a kid.
Okay.
And I was a centre half. So it was great. I mean, I was, you know what I mean? It's awesome. And then you kind of hit that 18 phase and I'm kind of like, I'm probably 5'10", but you stop getting to that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, everyone's now so much taller and it's like coaches in Australia just want to see height.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just tall, you win.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I know Jack. I went to the States to play football. I went to America to college called Tiffin University. It was a subsidiary of Ohio State. Got a full ride there.
Awesome.
And I actually had a terrible time there.
Really?
Yeah, because I went during COVID.
Yeah.
And I pretty much, a bit of a nut story, but I was probably the third week there. We went for a run and I just got this jab and I just literally were going around. It was hot. Ohio's hot. I don't even know Ohio, but it's got like hot wind.
Yeah.
We're running around this field and I collapsed.
Serious?
And I hit I banged I've got a little cut. You probably can't see it on the camera, but and I essentially got ruled out for about 3 to 6 months. They wouldn't let me play competitively.
Wow.
Because COVID was such a crazy thing that no one knew what to do. And especially in America, they're so like intense about liabilities. And so they refused to put me back on the field and it pretty much ended my college career.
Jeez.
So then I came back. I didn't play football for a year. I was like, I'm done. Like, I think everyone's had it. Like the heartbreak, it's over. I don't want to do this anymore. Started, and that's when Drinks Factory started in that middle part. Yeah.
So, did you have any background in like any type of businesses, or like how did you even come up with the idea to start Drinks Factory?
Yeah, so I didn't. I'd worked as a sales rep my whole life, so since I was 18, I think, and honestly, the greatest skill anyone can have is getting rejected, and that is literally what happens 99% of times as a sales rep, especially in field. So like my job was to go from bottle shop to pub and just get rejected.
Yeah.
And I think that was the best lesson I ever learned, and I think that would like teach anyone the most that they can experience, because it's just, you are literally feeling with rejection after rejection day in, day out, and you learn so much from that. Then look, as I said to you, I mean, I was working as a national sales manager 3 days a week. So I was at uni, but wasn't really sure what I was going to do when I came back from the States. It was a bit of a weird period for me. And then Drinks Factory was kind of just tickling in the back, and it was just growing and growing and growing, trickling through. And eventually it came to the point where I had this big decision, actually, where I got offered a full-time job, which was like super high paying for a 20-year-old. And Drinks Factory was still growing, and I just, I don't really know why. I don't think I was such a deep thinker then. I think it was just like natural instinct.
Yeah.
I just went with Drinks Factory, and now it's not a beast, but it's growing into a great company.
So at that time, how much traction had you had with Drinks Factory?
Mostly the smaller players, you know, some of the smaller teams out there. Again, you know, I think I was knocking on a lot of doors, but taking a lot of no's.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much traction to kick off with. A lot of people didn't believe in my vision, because my vision was, again, just to make it super simple, like Australia is 65% made up of Woolworths and Endeavour, so first choice Dan Murphy's.
Yeah.
My vision was to service those stores, because I thought to myself, like, if 65% of Australia retail is in this space, how are companies not sending people in to check products are there, ranging, paid promotional? Like, no one was doing it. So I had this vision. It was like, and I actually worked for a company called Ampersand, who are one of our big clients now. And they were the ones, when I used to work for them, had me in these chain stores and helped me develop this idea. Almost said to myself, why is no one doing it? And that was my vision, to send people into these chains, drive volume, drive growth, drive compliance. And that's where Drinks Factory started. And as we started to get results, people started to take note.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now the business has evolved. We do assisted selling, tastings, but that's like, at the start, I mean, there was next to no traction. I tell a story of this. This is a great story. I didn't have any money. So how I used to recruit people was I used to work for other companies on contract and go sell into pubs and bottle shops in different states. So the one day I was in Adelaide, I was working for like 3 or 4 brands. They all pay me whatever, like $20 a visit. I mean, it was cheap for them because I'd worked for a few and I was still trying to run Drinks Factory. And what I used to do was during the day I'd work for them and in the night I would go into pubs. And I thought I didn't have any money to put poster ads on Indeed or LinkedIn. So I used to actually, the smartest thing at that time I could think of was talk to bartenders.
Yeah.
Because they know liquor, they can talk, so they can probably sell. So I used to go from like 6 o'clock to 11 and just try and recruit people to Drinks Factory. And I remember I was in South Australia. I went to this one it was a distillery.
Yeah.
I started talking to the bartender and she was amazing, really good looking girl, like super intelligent. And I was trying to get her a job. And this old Italian guy comes, grabs me, the fuck are you trying to do? Picks me up and drops me outside his distillery. And I mean, if we talk about rejection, like that is like rejection, right?
Yeah.
At its brute force. Because I was obviously he thought I was trying to nick his stuff.
Yeah.
But that's like the story of Drinks Factory. It's just been like a fight. And I think as you build, you reflect on the journey, but yeah.
But it shows that the jobs that you had going into bars and getting that, like you said, that rejection, you could have looked at that time being like part-time jobs. I'm just doing it for, like you said before, if your motivation isn't there, and you don't have the intention to really grow, you wouldn't get much out of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've learned, like that those skills that you learned were the basis of pretty much building success now.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And the thing is it's like, I think a lot of people now online talk about like hard work and all of these things. I think it was something because of football, which was just instilled in me. I didn't think too much about working hard. It wasn't something that I had like, I work so much harder than everyone else. No, it was just something that was patterned into me from a young age,
Do you see it as hard work?
Not really.
Yeah.
I still don't. I think we're pretty soft, like the society, in terms of like how people are.
Tolerance.
It's just silly. Like everyone works hard, so I don't see it as hard work. I think like there are how many people on this planet? We're like one person. We're so irrelevant, and it doesn't matter who you were irrelevant. So it's like you have to work hard to be successful in anything.
Yeah.
But you can't just work hard because you also have to have some strategy behind it. So there's a very clear combination.
Yeah. And using the skills to your advantage, right? Like almost embracing challenges, and you probably did it without even thinking then, but learning how to deal with rejection.
Yeah.
You've used that to your advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, I literally walk into some of the biggest companies in the world, just me on my one, sometimes with cupcakes. And I don't think anyone else is doing things like that. But I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the thrill. Like, it's not about what you do. It's about if you really, really, truly do believe in something and you believe in the value, you'll give it your all, And that's the same thing as like employees. Like, I'm happy to take someone who is way more driven, way more committed to the cause and happy to learn than someone with 20 years experience, because I know that this person is going to give me more than someone with 20 years experience. Now, don't get me wrong, experience is important. I think like some people that don't believe that are extremely naive, because as we spoke about, like experience brings relationships, experience brings like, I guess, experiences that, people wouldn't have. But when you've got a vision and, people have to align, especially, and if you, as I guess, I don't like to call myself a boss, but as one of the team players, don't align with that vision, what even is a business or whatever you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say from a perspective of delegation of your time, hard work, or let's say working compared to strategy? Is there like a split? Because like, obviously you've got a lot of data.
Yeah. I think nowadays, strategy is maybe 15%, funnily enough. I have a team that are more the strategists.
Yeah.
I'm more the front, the sales. That's really my role in this company. I think when we talk about delegation, that's something like when you're building, you do everything. You wear every hat. I still wear every hat, just less than I used to. So, you know, like for example, like, you know, we have a finance team. Like I have, you know, 2 people on the finance team that worry about what's going on there. Like I get statements, P&L statements, like cash flow statements. I have an operations team. They're the ones worrying about where people are, the logistics, like travel time, whatever it is. My sole role in the business is obviously to make decisions, but also bring clients in. So that even in itself is delegation.
Yeah.
You take the hat off of operations because the thing is you also need, and this is a strategy in itself, like you can't do everything. Otherwise you'll be working at 60% at everything and you'll never hit your peak. So you have to, and this goes back to delegation, you have to let other people have some control. You can't be hands in every pie, as much as our tendencies are to have them in every pie. Yeah.
Would you say that progressively you got more and more trust the more skin in the game you had? Because obviously when you first started, you couldn't get those 18 players, you couldn't pay the salaries that they demanded.
Yeah.
To get to that point where you could actually trust someone, would you say that was a very, very slow progressive curve?
Yeah, but more because I didn't trust anyone to start off with. So less because of the money, more because I started this thing, and I actually don't mean to sound like narcissistic, but like, or that's probably the wrong word, but when you build a company, you do from start do it all yourself. So it's your baby, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's more the problem, is that you have this like inkling to hold on to it. So anything that you delegate out, you almost feel like, is this person or gonna hold it to your, I guess, levels and your level that you love this business. So that was the hardest thing for me. As you grow, if I'm honest, you have to let go though, because there's a few things. You have experience, so you have a much cooler head. I'm much calmer than I used to be. And that's just experience dealing with things. But then also you just cannot hold on to everything, because I will go nuts.
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking at everything, I cannot drive what I need to drive. You know, it's not possible.